In this video, I would like to show how to transfer your library when you upgrade R. R has, as of the time of this recording, R has upgraded to R 4.2. And I have just moved to that version, R version, here it is, 4.2. So there are a couple of things I would like to share with you. One is how to think about upgrading R. You may be resistant to upgrading, but I think Jerick Bryan has an eloquent explanation that would hopefully help you make the move. Basically, the long story made short is that it won't be a long time since you start feeling friction. If you are about 2 minor versions behind the latest, you'll start feeling friction, and it's worth the time spent in upgrading R. Same thing for RStudio, but that won't be the focus of today's video. The second thing I would like to show is this resource, how to transfer your library when upgrading R. So by the way, this is an entry in the 2Degrees Investing resources repo. You can find this issue by searching for updating R, or otherwise it's issue 305. So when you change from a patch version to another patch version, you don't need to change your packages. But if you're changing from upgrading to a minor version update or a major version update, so that is if the version is XYZ, if you update to a greater Z, you don't need to do anything. But if you upgrade to a greater Y or a greater X, then you have to. And this article from the book What They Forgot to Teach You About R covers how to do that, how to upgrade. And there are a couple of tricks that it's better to understand them by reading this short section of the book. But I'm going to be walking fairly quickly through how to do that. So if you need more details, probably better to just come to the book and read it for yourself. So here I am in a terminal. So I'm gonna start R. As you can see at the top, I'm right now R 4.2.0, and I have just upgraded from version 4.1.3, I think. Notice I get a bunch of warnings here because there are some packages that are not detected. Sorry for the background noise. Are not detected, and the reason is because now my R library for this specific version is fresh. So packages that I did have in the previous version are not detected, and the reason why R is trying to load them is because I have my R profile set up so that those packages are always attached. You may not see these warnings if you don't have such an R profile, trying to call for packages that are not the ones that come with the base R distribution. But anyway, you will still need to upgrade your packages or reinstall your packages. And what we're going to do here is to try to find which packages we have in the older version, get the names of the packages, and then install them in the new library. So one thing it's useful to know is where the libraries are. So we covered this in a data science incubator about what they forgot to teach you about R, about that precise book, and we covered a lot about how to install packages. So hopefully that would be another resource to extend what we're seeing here today. But let's see, with libpaths, we'll give you the paths that are being used right now, and then there is a system environment a system environment variable called capital R lowercase underscore leaves underscore user. So that environment variable sets or that describes the place where the library should be, but for that to work, that directory has to exist. And note that if we query for that, if we ask there exists, you will know that this throws false. So the directory does not exist, but that's no problem. We can create it with dir create. So now if we do again dir exist, we get it true. So we have just created a new directory. So let's create a new terminal here and to the left, actually to the right, because I think it's more readable. Now let's leave it here to the left. So let's actually navigate to that directory. So let's do a cd on my home R, and this is the old directory that you see there. So if I do an ls here, you see that I have folders for version 4, 4.1, and now 4.2. So 3 on 4.2 will show that this directory is empty, but a 3 on 4.1 or an ls on that would show that there is a bunch of things in there, because those are all the packages that I have. So let's do ls on 4.1. You can see that everything here are names of extensions of R, like packages that have been installed that are not the ones that come by default with R. So these are the names that we want to get to copy, and then use those names to install the packages again, and they will go to our new folder where we have the packages for 4.2. So let's do a little test first. So let's say that these are all the packages I want to install, but let's see what happens if I want to install just one of them. Let me do a head on this. Say that I want to install the package abbreviate. So install packages abbreviate. So one thing that I'm now thinking I may need to do before I try to install the package is to restart R, because we have created that folder but may not have been discovered by R. I think when on start tab is that we get R to discover that new folder we created. So let's do now a leave path again. And there you go. Yes, I think that was the right decision. Remember that before I ran this function, we only got these two directories, the second and the third one, and now we get a third one, which is in position 1, which is the one that is going to be used by default. So now if I do an install packages with, say, abbreviate, so that package should be installed in that specific directory, meaning that an ls on now 4.2 very soon will show that we have a folder called abbreviate. So not yet, but in a moment, when this process here on the right finishes, then here on the left I will see a new folder with the name abbreviate. Maybe a bunch more, a few more folders if that package called abbreviate has dependencies. So in that case, I won't install just that package, but also its dependencies, right? So let's go back to the book. So while that process happens, to see what else we need to do. So we have created, just in a slightly different, using a different function, we have created that directory that is pointed to by the R environment variable rlibs user. The format is the one here, which is kind of the default. We have installed R. Yes, we created that. Here it is. So we had to restart R so that leave path were updated. Luckily I did that, and I didn't embarrass myself. So now the next step is going to be to get the names of all the folders, really, which are the names of the packages, in the library that we had when we were using the previous version of R. So this process, let's see, it did complete, and now let's try and do an ls on here. Oh, look, apparently, well, the package was installed, apparently had no other dependencies. Pretty cool. So with that, I demonstrate that now that is the default library where packages will land. So the next thing we need to do is to get the names of, oops, I didn't mean to do that, is to get the names of the packages that we have in the previous library. So we could do that with the fs package file path, or we could do it with the base. Let's do it with base. So if we do list files, I think it is, and now what we want is so my home, then what else, R, then X there, then 4.1 there. So let's list the files there in that directory. So let me do this bigger because I'm pretty sure that you by now are probably shrinking your eyes. So these are the names of all the packages that we have. There is one thing that is odd, is this cache thing. We have two approaches. We can either just remove it from this listing with, for example, grep with the argument value and then invert, or we can just go with it and expect that one thing to fail. So I think I'm gonna go with that approach. And also because I have a lot of packages here and I don't want to make you wait too much for this demo, what I'm gonna do is pretend that I am gonna do it all, but instead I'm gonna do a subset of my packages, which is gonna be, say, the tail of, actually let's do the head, because the head will contain that cache string, which should produce an error in the installation. So let's see how that behaves. So if I do, so now the pkg sub contains, these elements, which are the names of packages, except for this one here, which I expect it to be an error. But let's try that. So if I do install packages with pkj sub, let's see what happens. So the first one should be an error. Abbreviate is already installed, so actually we could have skipped that. It looks like it's trying, and it won't succeed. But maybe the reason why it's taking some time is because of the multiple attempts. Right. Maybe it was kept because I don't see a message kind of saying that thing failed. But let's see. There you go. The package cache is not available. Addressable admin app are not available for this version. It is possible. So it looks like we were able to install fewer packages that we thought. So let me see. Let's list the packages that we have now in our new library 4.2. So some succeeded. So abbreviate, we already know it did work, and then abind and airports did succeed as well. So we have 3 of all the packages that we wanted to install, which were something like 5, including the _ cache. So this cache, we knew it would fail, but these 2 we did not expect them to fail. Admin app, now I know what it is. It's a local package that does not exist on CRAN, so I now expect that. And addressable, I'm not very sure. Maybe it's a package that exists on GitHub. So all the packages that I have installed, like bwarn, that You may need to reinstall some packages locally if that's where you have them, or from GitHub if that's where you have them. And this process will succeed only for the packages that are on CRAN, and particularly on the repository that you have set to work with. So that you will know with options repos. So that will give you the addresses of the R package repositories that your R will consult to see if those packages exist there. So these are the ones that I set up, and there is always some default that I believe is likely this one here, but I modify my default to search in other places that I believe are faster. So that's all I wanted to cover. So basically a demo of the instructions here in the book, What They Forgot to Teach You About R, specifically in the section that help you to transfer your library when you upgrade R. All right, that's all for now. I hope you find this useful.